two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 12 of the Vocational Podcast. If you're a returning listener, thank you. Thank you for coming back. And if you're new here, you are absolutely welcome. And I hope you enjoyed the episode. Today, I'm happy to speak with a digital media pioneer and marketing specialist. From working with big TV networks like Viacom, Nickelodeon, the list goes on, to spearheading community growth initiatives in his city at a directorial level. Mr. Elosia of Millennials Media Group of Companies is a culture custodian in the making, celebrating, elevating, and amplifying Black culture. Peter, thank you for joining us today. How has your Monday gone so far?
Thank you for having me. Monday has been going as Monday should be going.
No, I like to start off every episode by telling the audience how I got to meet our guests for the episode. So I met Peter. Actually, I don't think I met him initially through a friend. So my first brush with Peter was attending the first ever Afro Vibes on Gokul in Kitchener, Waterloo region. And then sometime about a couple months ago this year, I'm at a friend's housewarming. And then she tells me, oh, that's the person that organizes Afro Vibes. I'm like, wait, him? I want to interview him for my podcast. And she was like, okay, Jessica, go and interview him now. I was like, but like he does not know me. How will I just go and be like, excuse me, sir, come to my podcast? And then that's exactly what happened. It was an awkward meeting, but I'm used to awkward situations. So I wasn't too scared. That's how I met Peter. And then I also attended Afro Vibes this year, which was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I went to all the events. I went to the after party. I went to the dance on like a public square. I was everywhere.
Oh,
So
amazing. Look at you.
I was at the panel session as well. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. So, Peter, just to get into it very quickly, I'm going to go into the quick fire questions. So, you do quite a bit of traveling, correct?
I had to, I had to pause and be like, I mean, it depends. Context. I haven't traveled as much since. I mean, within Canada, yes. Out of Canada, not really.
Okay, so I'm going to say you traveled to Italy, to Monaco, Canada, within Nigeria. Out of all of those places I've mentioned, including the ones that I don't know about, of course, or rather, where is the most memorable city you've been to, good or bad? And what made it stand out to you?
Minus Nigeria.
Plus Nigeria, any city, good or bad, that has really, really stood out to you, and what?
Oh, I would always say Lagos. Like
Uh,
Lagos is Lagos is top tier. Always. Always, should I go into it? I mean, lifestyle
please
in
do,
Lagos, right?
please
Lifestyle
do.
In Lagos for me, right? So, I mean, the hustle and bustle of Lagos. Lagos is a fast-paced city, right? In the sense that there's literally no sleeping. But when they say no sleeping, it's a city that doesn't sleep.
Yeah,
And I just kind of feel like my reason for actually even staying in Kitchener Waterloo is to go away from the Lagos mindset of like having to be quick and everything else, right?
yeah.
So Lagos is always memorable in the sense that I mean I haven't been back home in a long time. But Lagos just gives the vibe of energy. Like when you're in Lagos, you just have a different mindset of like hustle, like you need to just move.
Yeah.
I owe myself a visit to Lagos very soon because I think I'm feeling too relaxed. I need to go back home and
You need to go and
hustle.
re-traumatize yourself.
Yeah. It's gonna recharge. It's gonna recharge. Literally,
Oh my
so
goodness. No, so you
definitely
miss
Lagos.
the hustle and bustle. You can go to Little Lagos, Toronto.
Nah,
Toronto
man, it's a
hustle and
different.
bustle too.
It's a whole different vibe, man. Like the stories that you hear in Lagos, like things are unreal. Lagos is literally not a real place. So to live in that fantasy sometimes is needed. Like
What is what is the most unreal thing that has happened in Lagos to you or to somebody you know?
to me, I can tell you a story. To me, this
Please.
is a story. I don't think I've told this story publicly, and whoever listens to this podcast if my mom listens to it or whoever, my sister. That's okay. But there was the time I finished the concert in Lagos at a hotel at
Mm-hmm.
night, maybe like 1
Mm-hmm.
a.m. 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I was escorting a friend um to an Uber outside the hotel. And by the time I'm coming in, right, you know how it is in Lagos. Like some two guys come, they start patting me like, boss, well done, no, how you
They will
doing?
still say,
Alpha. So one comes, grabs my leg, and he's like, boss, alpha, alpha. And then obviously while he's doing that all that shenanigans, he's literally taking my phone away, right? And then the next thing I know, he releases me, and then I check my pocket and my phone is gone.
"Oh my
The
goodness."
Lagos man in me chased after that guy. So I literally started running and I started chasing the guy. And I just remember because then I used to wear caps, I used to, wear hats and everything. I remember my cap falling down. I left my cap on the floor. There was a Keke Napep guy that was driving past. He said,
Mm.
"Oh, he saw the guy going this way." I entered the Keke Napep. Keke Napep took me towards the location. And then all of a sudden, it takes me to like an uncompleted building, like a land that was just not in use, right? And I
Yeah.
don't know what was going on with me that night because like anything could have happened to me on that day.
Yes.
But in my head, I think I just came out from a Burna Boy. No, I came out from Rhythm Unplugged. So Burna Boy just finished performing. So I was like,
Okay.
I just had fun. I had adrenaline.
You had the energy.
I had the energy. So I literally walk into the place, and then I see the guy, and it's like, boss, if not because in you. Oh." And the next thing I know, I try to swing at him. He drops the phone on the floor. I pick up my phone, and the guy runs away.
Oh
So I
my.
then walk back to the hotel. I was with my boss. And my boss was driving because there was traffic. If you leave a hotel after a concert, there's so much traffic, right?
It's insane.
So so I go meet my boss. Like obviously I left my boss. He was still driving. By the time I got into my car, my boss asked me, where have you been since? I've been looking for you. I just laughed and said, you don't know the
Don't
manners
worry.
that just happened. You know the manners that just happened outside right now, man. So I think top tier, like that has to be one of my most memorable moments that's happened to me in
Mm-hmm.
Lagos. I've
Mm-hmm.
had my phone taken away from me at like I mean just maybe like twice or three times
Oh my
by the
god.
real owners, like they always say. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The real people who spend the money to buy the phone.
that's
It's
that's
them.
an unreal moment. But generally, like I mean, I'm saying that from a place of banter. But like Lagos is
Mhm.
vibes, man. Like I've had good memories in Lagos. Like I mean, I used
Yeah.
to work in MTV then, so
Mm-hmm.
I got to see the different side of Lagos, or just even Nigeria as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I was always traveling, like you mentioned, like I would travel, like my work would take me to places like Lagos, Enugu, Port Harcourt, Jos, just different places, and it's a whole different experience. Like
I
like
can imagine.
like Lagos is a beautiful space. The
It is.
nightlife, they always say nightlife is good, but I'm not even I won't say I'm a nightlife guy, but like it's a good place for entertainment.
It is.
Um, it's a good place to connect. And
Yeah.
home will always be home, and culture, right? Culture is always at the center.
Period.
Culture is always at the
Mm-hmm.
center of anything. When I was younger, I used to love going to Eyo Festival. I don't know if you know Eyo
Oh
Festival.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah,
your festival.
yeah. So
Like with
that was
with the white and then the stage.
yes. So
Right.
that was a very like me personally. That was like a very very memorable thing for me growing up, right? So yeah, no,
That's so cool. That's like very very interesting. Cause for me, the short period of time I spent in Lagos, I was like, never again. I'm not
really,
coming back to this place. It's,
that's
it,
what's
it,
up.
it was a lot. I must get to like a slower pace of life because I grew up in Port Harcourt. So
No wonder,
things are a lot slower. They
no
are
wonder.
violent, but
Exactly.
slower.
That's why. That's a whole different experience for you. Port
Yes.
Harcourt and Lagos, very different.
Very different cities. So, what drives you harder or quicker towards your goals? So, it sounds like your first, I guess, brush with a 9 to 5, like work was in a very fast paced, heavy handed, like society. So, what drives you harder? Would you say is that harsh criticism, that harsh environment, or is this overwhelming praise of your efforts?
I mean, what drives me harder doesn't have anything to do with like my. I won't say it doesn't have anything to do with my like growing up or anything else, but I think it's just more about being able to create, being able to create for myself, right? I think that idea. So I'm looking for my charger. My battery is dead. Oh,
Okay.
there it is. Sorry. Sorry.
No,
So
it's okay.
so what drives me harder really comes from a place of like um, I always tell people that like there's passion that comes into play when you start like businesses or like when you start doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, that passion has turned into a purpose driven mentality, right?
Okay.
So I'm really driven by the idea that I wake up in the morning and there's stuff that I need to do. When I
Mm-hmm.
started working so when I started doing 9 to 5, like when I started
Could you
when I
tilt your camera a little, please?
can you hear me?
Could you tilt your camera a little, please? Like we couldn't see your face. There you go.
Again, okay.
Yeah.
So when I got into the corporate world, um, my obviously my entry into corporate world was via MTV, right? And for me, MTV was a dream job. It was something that I literally enjoyed doing. So it was literally waking up in the morning, being happy to go to work, not necessarily from the point of like, oh, I was going to work and then I was earning, money. Like money was nice and everything else, but it was like literally enjoying what I was doing at certain points, right? So there was that passion to just create, passion to like serve. I joined MTV in 2015.
Right out of
Um,
Babcock.
yeah, just right out of Bangkok, right? And I like it was a time when I mean we know African music right now, Afrobeats as they like to call it. It wasn't really at the point where it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So as early as 2015 to 2017, so actually 2015 to 2021, that's when I left MTV. So
Mm-hmm.
2020 actually,
Mm-hmm.
there was so much work that was being done in regards to creating the popularity of what it is right now
Really?
in terms of like just kind of like making sure that we are promoting like I mean working MTV. I also worked for BET, right? So
Mm-hmm.
part of the team in regards to just creating experiences for like the African culture back home,
Mm-hmm.
popularizing what the sound is,
Mm-hmm.
making just giving the visibility to artists that are deserving of a chance on the TV station and
Mm-hmm.
everything else, right? So it was that passion that just kind of like led me into doing what I was doing, not necessarily the idea of like, oh, because people
Something
can,
driving you.
you know.
Mm. Mm. I see. I understand that, but like with your entry to like corporate world, w- was all of your outputs always like perfect? Did you make mistakes along the way? And like when you made those mistakes, what I guess what made you feel like okay, I'm just going to keep on keeping on. I'm just going to try it a different way. Was it like when they cautioned you, I guess, harshly, or was it when they were like, okay, this work is good but this work isn't, so like some kind of soft praise?
Yeah. Miss, you know what? Mistakes in so at MTV, I worked as the voice of the brand
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like obviously social media, digital media. So what I mean basically was like tweeting like on social media, like when Twitter then was popular, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
very popular then. Um, so for example, think of like announcing Whiskey as the maybe MTV award winner, for example, or MTV Mama's Award and everything else, right? Now imagine I make a mistake on that. Like imagine I have a big announcement and then I say maybe or somebody else wins an award and everything else, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine the backlash that would
Yeah,
happen, right?
yeah,
So
that'd be crazy.
there's a lot of checks and balances that you need to be able to put in place to avoid some of those happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mistakes at that level are obviously very costly, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that mistakes have happened in the sense of like like maybe spell check or grammatical errors here and there and everything else, but it's not something that you always want to be able to kind of do. The one thing I always encourage my team and just people in general is make mistakes and don't make these mistakes intentionally, right? There's always an error for mistakes because you would always make mistakes at the end of the day. Nobody's perfect at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes can happen, right? It's how you respond to those mistakes that kind of define you, right?
The rest, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's how you respond to it, right? Because like, there's always trial and error when it comes to building a brand, when it comes to building your personal self, like when it comes to building skills and everything else, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, there will mistakes always happen. Mistakes will always happen, but it's just a matter of like how you kind of identify and don't be comfortable in your mistakes, right? Like don't say because my manager allows me to make mistakes, I should be making mistakes and everything else, right? At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you also want to put yourself in check, right? When
Yeah,
you make a mistake, you're able to kind of like spot what the mistake is.
yeah.
Because it's from mistakes that you learn. Like if you make a mistake, for example, if something happens again, you're able to identify what that mistake was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I mean I won't say mistakes were things that kind of defined like my progression into corporate world or anything else, but
Yeah.
it's just an opportunity to be able to, because human, like I said, human beings are human beings. There will always be mistakes, but it's like knowing. I guess should I say knowing when to make mistake and not when to make mistakes is
And
like
that's okay.
is the fine line. Is the fine line between like,
Some are too
like
costly.
yeah, because like I know that for example, like I know how many times even up to today I still do that thing where, like I said, like social media, digital media has sort of been like my, and it's so crazy. Like my corporate world, I got into corporate world because of social media, like literally going on Twitter. Like my 9 to 5 was sometimes was just going on Twitter to just be typing messages on Twitter and
Yeah.
Instagram, just on Instagram. So for me, it's just like there are times when like I need to just double check before I read what I'm sending out. Because I mean, I'm representing a corporate brand. Like
Yeah.
I am the voice of a brand, right? I cannot be allowing MTV, for example, to making spell checks or to be make to be allowing grammatical errors when I'm tweeting as MTV, for example,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
things were things I needed to double check properly, right? And again, it just kind of helps build, you personally as you kind of grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Finally, apart from the money you could have lost if you did not pursue that guy who stole your phone, what is the largest amount of money you've ever lost to maybe investments? Maybe somebody stole it. What's like the biggest amount that when you think about it, you're like, Kai, virtue has left me.
I'm not sharing that amount. Do you want someone to call CCO? Like I'm not giving what? Ha. Don't worry about it. It's not much, but don't worry about it. There's no those numbers will be help personally.
We help. Okay, okay, fair enough. But like, is it plenty? Is it small? You said it's not much. What is
I
not
mean,
much?
I would say
It's not much
lost
in
because
naira. It's not much in.
I would say lost because I mean, at the end of the day, like doing a festival like Afrovice Festival is it's an investment. Like it's not a loss, but it's money that goes into the festival itself, right? And I mean, the output itself is beautiful to see and everything else. When we
Mm-hmm.
launched the first year, it was a risk that happened and everything, but there was investment that was put into it too, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I won't say a complete loss. What
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not going to share numbers about how much for example,
Fair
I ran
enough.
Afrovice. For example.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, with that said, we're going into a separate segment of the episode now. So this is the segment where you tell us what you do in your own words. So I've used many words to describe you in the introduction. LinkedIn has its own description. Behance, Wix.com, Instagram, Afropolitan, they all have their separate descriptions of you and what you do. So in your own words, Peter, what is your profession?
That's a very good question, man. Because funny enough, just over the weekend, I actually went to ChatGPT and I was like, "Give me an elevator pitch for like me, like who I am, each experience." I haven't read it yet, but I feel like I need to. But just in general, I think I would just call my. I like to call myself. I like to see myself as a marketing and media professional because that sort of like has its own different layers. From the
Mm-hmm.
marketing perspective, whereas I have a whole career in marketing and I still have a career in marketing. And from
Mm-hmm.
the media perspective, I obviously own a digital media company, and then I also have different ties into the media industry, right, or into the media and entertainment industry, right. So I think
Mm-hmm.
as a professional, I'll just call myself a marketing and media professional.
Mm-hmm. Marketing and media professional.
That's me downplaying it to the lowest of keys. Like if you want to go into details,
If
then I can really
yes,
go into
yes,
it.
please go into details. Like if you have to list it like a bullet points, like one by one, this is what I am, this is what I am, this is what I am, and you fill those shoes completely, what would they be?
Okay.
I Let me start.
Yeah,
Digital
please.
marketing specialist, community builder, entrepreneur. Continue.
Okay, to give a summary, I'm a marketing and media professional. I'm about to give you an interview pitch, right? Peter Pearse-Elosia is a marketing and media professional with over 10 years of experience, blah 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 blah. So I'm a marketing and media professional with experience working across different industries like entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
media. finance,
Mm-hmm.
education,
Mm-hmm.
um, healthcare.
Healthcare. Mm-hmm.
I also run a passion project, which is Millennials Media Companies, which is a media platform that is dedicated towards amplifying and celebrating culture
Mm-hmm.
from African across North America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also the founder and creative director of Afro Vibes Festival, which is the
Mm-hmm.
leading celebration of African culture across the southern region of Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm also involved in different community projects. I sit on the board of a couple of amazing organizations across the Waterloo region. Um, I also sit as an advisor on a committee to the city of Waterloo. So just a couple of different things that kind of like makes up that.
Thank you. Can you see why I said you can't just stop at media professional?
Yeah, well, that sort of summarizes everything, no?
Okay, fair, fair enough. So we have mentioned multiple times during the course of this interview already that straight out of Babcock in 2015, you joined MTV, which was under Viacom CBS, which is now called Paramount Global.
Yeah,
So, how did you land the role? Did you know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody? Because it's a very sweet spot. Because you studied mass communication, am I correct, at
yeah,
Babcock? And
yeah.
then straight out of school, you land a rather, I want to say lucrative. I don't know whether it is lucrative like financially, but at least for the position, a digital and marketing intern with MTV base is a big deal, even in 2015. So how did you land the role?
Hmm. This girl has done her research. She has done her research. But that's a good question though. So my career and my story is very interesting because the reason why I joined Babcock in the first place was because I just liked entertainment, right? So at the time when I was doing my research of what university I was going to go to, um, it was between Unilag and Babcock University. And
Mm-hmm.
Babcock University, based on my research, I just realized that there were a lot of artists that were in Babcock, right? So
Yes.
back then, this is as far back as 2015. People that know him as Santi, for example, like
Santi, Cross Santino.
Ozzy B, he was known as Ozzy B in Babcock, right? So he was in Babcock then. There were artists like Nova Kills. There were artists like producer called Banky on the beats. It was just a bubbling scene of entertainment in Babcock, and I just wanted to be part of that because I already had like an interest in entertainment already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my decision to go to Babcock was based on that, and shout out to my mom for allowing that decision because who else, right? So that happened.
Money.
Like I told her, literally, that was my reason. The reason why I studied mass communication too was because when I was looking at I was looking at like the courses that I could study, and I just realized that mass communication did not have mathematics, and I did not like mathematics. And that was the only reason why I chose mass communication. Not because I
Fair
wanted to
enough.
be in media. Literally, that was literally so. My entry into Babcock first of all was based on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then along the way, I I just got introduced to a couple of different opportunities in entertainment. Because in entertainment, then the pathway was only music. Like I only
Mm-hmm.
knew about maybe music, acting, and everything else, right? And I
You
just
wanted to be
realized
a
then that
musician.
what is it?
You wanted to be a musician.
Let's not talk about that. Let's
Ha!
leave it.
Okay.
But but music was like the only pathway towards entertainment then that I knew about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like going into Bangkok, I saw, like I said, obviously there were producers and everything else, right? But I got first hand like experience with like working or seeing behind the scenes of like actual people making beats and everything else. I saw people that were working as managers. I saw people working as like entertainment bloggers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
One of my close friends then in Bangkok, he used to be a blogger, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
was sort of like so blogger is like an entertainment writer, like a
Yeah.
music writer, right? So that was like my interest in regards to like, okay, cool. I feel like I could maybe do something along those lines. So I started blogging and I started being a blogger. So a friend of mine owned this media platform then. Um where she would, like write like new releases and everything else, right? She does interviews and all of that. So that was like my actual entry into entertainment. So yes, I was working in Bangkok as doing mass communication. But that sort of like started my career into entertainment. So I would be writing interview, I'll be writing new song. Like when new songs drop, I'm like literally writing about the new song, or I'm doing interviews. I interviewed it was far back as 2011, 2012. I interviewed people like Young Six.
Oh.
I interviewed Danny Crane just a long time ago, right? As far back as then. And then I think in 2012, 2013. I think that 2012, I don't remember the exact year, but
Mm-hmm.
I then left. I left that brand,
Yeah.
and then I go on Twitter one day, and then I see a call to action for another brand, and they're like, oh, they're looking for a new writer and social media manager, blah blah blah. And then I
Mm-hmm.
send my resume, and I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in doing this. And then I just, I took the job, or I took the position,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't getting paid. It wasn't a thing. I was not even interested. At all this time, I wasn't thinking about money. I was just, again, going to the idea of making mistakes and learning. This When you do something like this, it helps you to be able to learn, because like I was experimenting. I was in my experimental phase. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just doing these things, and then when I got the position, I just really loved the idea of what I could do. Like the platform allowed me to express myself. I
Mm-hmm.
launched like There was something I launched back in 20. This was 2013, 2014, called. So the name of the brand was Miss You TV,
Mm-hmm.
and um and I launched something called Miss Youth Week. So it was something where, like, during a week, for example, we would just interview like every day, like we do like a Twitter Q&A with a bunch of artists. So
Mm-hmm.
as far back as 2014, 2014, 2015, 2013, 14, 15, I had interviewed like literally almost half of the music industry that were popular then, right? So people like Files, Tools, Fatoran
Crazy.
King, Issa Asika, um,
See
um,
me?
Simi, Waje. I just a couple of huge names of people that I just interviewed then, and it
Mm-hmm.
was just like an exciting. It was a good thing, because what we do then was, it was dragging engagement to our Twitter page,
Mm-hmm.
and it just worked, right?
Yeah.
So lo and behold, I had no idea who the owner, like, I knew who the owner of the platform was, but I did not know her
Yeah.
connections. Like, I had no idea, right?
Yeah.
And then she sends me a message one day, like, I really love what you're doing. I work for MTV. I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay, cool. Would love you to come, and I want you to I want to introduce you to, the management at MTV. I love what you're doing. Come, and like, I think maybe you could be able to do this at MTV.
Yeah.
Right? I do that. I come for an interview. We have a conversation. I do an interview and everything else. They ask me some questions. I do a case study. I go back and, I do the case study, come back and present it and everything else, right? And I think I was just finishing school then, so I was going to do NYC.
Yeah.
And long story short, like, that's how I got the job at MTV, right? So
So
it
you
was
did
really
your
just a matter
NYSC
of,
with them as well. Like from NYSC, you just continued on with them.
pretty much, yeah, that was pretty much it, right? So
That's
yeah, that
insane.
was my entry
So
point into business.
So it sounds like it's not exactly like a time and chance thing. It was like a time and chance met preparedness, basically.
That's
Like,
pretty much it.
yeah,
Literally, it's
like it's
like,
something you were already doing, you were already enjoying doing, and like people saw your output, and then they were like, well, they basically tapped you on the shoulder to then
yeah.
commit to work with MTV.
Yeah, it's funny. I just mentioned that. I just remember that my entry in MTV, the initial plan. This brings back so much memory. So the initial plan for
Mm-hmm.
me joining MTV then was, I wasn't even going to come as a digital media like person, right? They were going to launch a website or a blog then,
Mm-hmm.
and I was meant to come and work for that blog. So I was meant to come in and contribute as a writer or as a editorial assistant or
Oh,
whatever towards
like
towards
an
the blog that I was
independent
working.
writer, not
I don't know
a
it was independent,
staff.
but the structure was more like, okay, yeah, when you come in, your role would be working on this. Like, my main focus was to be on the blog. That
Mm-hmm.
was literally what, like, oh, you did this on the website, you had this impact on the website, blah blah blah. I think you should be able to bring this impact to MTV and everything else, right? So that was literally how I sort of like landed that.
Yeah.
And that, like you mentioned, there's something that people don't tell you. Like, the jobs, a lot of half of the jobs that we see on the internet that are posted,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there's a whole other market that doesn't get posted, and that was where I was luckily in, because networking is one of the biggest things, right? And I wouldn't say
Absolutely.
I intentionally networked and everything else, right? But I think I forgot to even mention something. But like even before working with MTV,
Mm-hmm.
I interned with Issa Asika for a very short period. Issa Asika is
Yeah.
Davido's,
Davido's
Davido's
manager.
manager.
Yeah.
I did a very short stint with Issa Africa because again I just got after university. I just sent an email to Issa that, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
love what you're doing, I want to come and work on that, you let me see what you're doing. So I remember doing like just doing a short stint with Issa Africa. And then Godwin Tom, he used to manage Ayo Ayo J back then. Can I get a
Mm-hmm.
number? So like just a very short period of like just sending emails, networking, and everything else, right? So I
Yeah.
got that period. So that kind of also elevated my strength, or like um my confidence going
In
into the
your own
interview,
self.
in my own self,
Mm-hmm.
going into the interview that I did. So that kind of pretty much was it, right? So it's just like I was able to kind of go into that, and like you said, being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that obviously going into MTV, I needed to have some certain levels of skills or certain level of like experience. So I
Absolutely.
already built the experience because obviously like this is the first time I've done something like that. Nobody's gonna give me a random chance and say, you know what, this guy has done this before. So I got the experience by working freelance and literally for free. Like I
Yeah.
built the experience working for free, being able to build my resume to a point where I can actually go into a room like MTV and say, you know what, I've done this, right? So
Yeah. Like I'm
that
I'm
kind of
I'm
thing.
I'm worth whatever you guys want to pay me. I'm worth my salt.
Yeah, so kind of pretty much what my entry point into MTV was.
That's so cool. And like it sounds like you were having the time of your life. You were enjoying it. You were able to travel. You were able to do work that you actually believed in and that you enjoyed. You were able to meet, the entertainment people that you hoped to work with when you enrolled in Babcock. So,
It's crazy because I joined MTV when I finished school at 19, so I joined MTV when I was 20.
oh my God. You must have looked like a spring chicken amongst all of them.
I
You
literally
must
was. I was a baby. Like I literally really was a baby. So I literally was having the time of my life. Like I'm not even going to lie. Like I was having a good time.
and
I
you
was really
stayed
having a good time.
And you stayed for 4 years, right? So, in fact, no, I think over 4 years,
Yeah, over
more
4 years. I was like, nah,
more
more
than
than 4
four
years.
years. So, would you have left the company if you weren't relocating for masters? Because, like, immediately you moved, I think, in 2021 to University of Waterloo for your
Yeah,
MDEI. So,
yeah.
would you have left?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Like 100%. Like my mom had to be the one to force me out of Nigeria at some point.
Nigeria.
Because I was like, yeah, yeah, cool. Because it was during COVID 2020. Then I left in 2020. I mean, I started my program in 2020, but I just had to leave to come full time in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely would not have seen like MTV was it was like I said, it was literally my foundation into anything I'm doing, like the experience and everything else. And I just had an amazing. I think I just have just been blessed. I had an amazing team. Like
Mm-hmm.
the I had amazing mentors, I would say, that kind of like just kind of made my experience at MTV just good,
Yeah.
exposing me to like different facets. So yes, I worked in digital marketing and all of that, but I had strongholds in like different areas of the brand. So from sales, sometimes I'll go on sales calls. I worked as I studied and I studied like the programming team. So people that like schedule like music for MTV. Even at some point, even suggesting ideas of like programs for MTV, like content. I would create content as a producer. I used to produce shows on social media and everything else.
Yeah.
I suggested ideas, so it was just like a whole
You're
lot of
really
experience.
growing too.
Yeah, it was just so, and this is like I said, this was me when I joined MTV when I was 20, right? So imagine my foundation from being 20 to like where I'm at right now. It just kind
Yeah.
of built that foundation for me, right, to be where I'm at today, right? So
That's incredible. Like the entire premise of this podcast is to be able to, like, I guess, shine a light to the path that my guests have taken for other people who want to take that same path, especially undergraduates and high school students who are like confused. So I like it when, like, I speak to people like you who are very passionate and very clear about what they wanted, especially like from a very young age. And you didn't wait for anybody to give you the permission. You didn't wait for anybody to create work for you. You were like, oh, this is what I want to do. These are the opportunities, paid or unpaid, that I've seen, and I'm going into it. So once again, thank you for being here. It's very I like that I'm getting to speak with you. So which came first for you? Your passion for digital media, marketing, the entertainment industry, or your interest in community building?
My passion for digital media or like community building was never something that I mean, to be fair, like when I was in Nigeria, I used to be I don't know if you know this is a non-government organization called Lions Club.
I
Um
do. They're similar to Rotary Club.
yeah. So I was actually like the vice president of my chapter when I was back home in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Um but that obviously came after like a couple of years working in MTV already, right? So
What
I would say
prompt
definitely what is it?
what prompted it? Like where did you develop like your interest for the community from?
So my mom also is a Lions Club member. So
Okay.
I had already seen like that already kind of like happening right from her part. But I think my what really sparked my interest really in community building was moving into Canada, like specifically. Like and I think that's when like I was very intentional about building the community or like trying to create the community because I just realized that there were series of pockets or there was a lack of, of created experiences for Africans that like for us in the region of Waterloo, right? This is where I
Mm-hmm.
work when I came to Canada. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of just sparked my interest in being able to create like community incentives or community initiatives to be able to bring people together to, experience culture and the likes, right?
Yeah.
But I think obviously the first part into entry for me was definitely like even the like I said, even the idea of digital media, like it was not until I got into MTV that there was a structure of like what I was doing. Like
Yeah.
I won't say I was interested in digital media. Like I was just doing stuff, and then out of a sudden, I found a company that there was a structure and that I could actually get paid for tweeting on social media. Like
Produce.
that's what it was. Like I did not know that I was just doing social media. Like I was a blogger. I would have a website. I would interview people. Like I said, I'd interview people. Like I've interviewed Davido. I interviewed Davido as far back as again 2015 ish.
Yeah.
My friends had this magazine like when I was in Bapco,
Yeah.
and we sort of struck a partnership where we would like brand I was working for then would interview their headline artists, right, just kind of like create a brand partnership.
Yeah.
So I interviewed so their headline their cover star was Davido. So I interviewed Davido as far back as 2014 2015 ish, right? So again, I was just doing these things, but I didn't think of a structure towards doing any
Yeah.
of these things, right? I
Yeah.
won't say I was a digital media 2014 in back like I wanted to be a digital media expert. It just came. Like
So
that profession just came.
so would it be more accurate to say you were passionate about entertainment?
Oh, 100%. That's pretty much what it was. I was passionate about entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Entertainment and media, let's say media too.
Okay.
But I just did not know because a lot of people always ask me. So when I was working in MTV, a lot of people would always ask me, they want to work in MTV, right? How and I ask them, what do you want to do? Like, so because people just think that working in MTV is just working in MTV, like,
Working in
but
MTV.
it's like I'm actually doing a job at MTV, like I'm actually working as something at
Yeah.
MTV. So, like, if
Yeah.
you want to work as MTV, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a video director? Do you want to be a producer? Do you want to be a
Like a
secretary?
sound
Like, what do
engineer.
you want to
What
do?
are you doing?
Yeah, so it's like that was one of the things that even I personally like again when you think about entertainment, people just think about entertainment from a place of, oh, I want to work in entertainment. But work in entertainment as what? Like people don't know, didn't know. Like I said, speaking for me ignorantly, I didn't really think about the pathway to be like, okay, I want to work in entertainment. I can work in entertainment as a media person. Like that was not my plan. I wasn't thinking about, oh, I want to go into entertainment and work as a digital media marketer. That wasn't the plan. But it just
Mm.
happens that where I started building my interest and my passion on led me towards a space where I could monetize my talent and my passion by doing digital media,
Oh,
right?
that's so. interesting because like I feel like that's a very common misconception, as you mentioned already. People see entertainment as this big fun thing, and like they don't know it's actual work that's going
It
into
is. It literally is. It literally is.
like a stressful work. Like you'll be looking
100%.
at figures and you're like, where will this
Yes,
money come from?
facts. Yeah, because I worked in like obviously 9 to 5, but with MTV is around the clock thing, right? So
Absolutely.
after I get back and what I do was, like I said, I was digital media, but like more content marketing to an extent. So
Mm-hmm.
after work is done at 5 p.m., I'm still opening my laptop and looking at watching MTV.
You're
Like I
still
remember,
looking at
like
the
at
time.
some point, I used to get tired of watching TV because like I had to watch MTV because MTV was my job. So literally, it's like whatever
Yeah.
is happening on MTV, I'm pushing what's going on MTV. Like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
tune into MTV at 5 p.m. to watch this, that. Oh, this, that. So it's like literally, it was 9 to 9, like it was round the clock that I was literally
Wow.
working. Right. So, and
I
then obviously,
would
like you said,
have
it's like
exhausted. I
yeah, it's like
would have sold
I,
my
I,
team.
you
Ah.
know, it's crazy, right? It's literally what it is, man. So
So could you like list out as many as you can remember all the roles in entertainment that you know? And this is going to be like a double barrel question. All the roles in entertainment that you know, and which one you feel like you could have ended up doing if it wasn't digital media.
um, all the roles in entertainment that I know,
Just
there is.
as
I
many
mean,
as
like I
you
said,
can
there's literally every 9 to 5. Just think of a similar company. There's account executive.
remember.
There's so sorry. There's account executive. There's there's sales rep. There's there's country manager. There's digital media manager. There's digital media coordinator. There's marketing executive. There's talent manager. There's program manager. There's director, executive director. Um, there's producer, scriptwriter, cinematographer, editor, um,
Editor in chief.
editor in chief. You know, so literally like that. I mean, top of mind. That's what's coming to mind, right? It's like um,
Which would you have ended up as if you weren't within the route of that digital media? Do you think? Which would you have?
that's a good question. I feel like I feel like I was going to sort of go into into program manager.
What's that?
So program manager is the role that sort of like creates like the music that goes on channel, like in terms of like, so if you watch MTV, like MTV, like or just even just TV channels in general,
Mm-hmm.
when you watch a TV channel, right, there you think of a TV channel has nine, like it's 24 hours, right? So in that
Yes.
24 hours, there are different programs that happen on the TV station. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe from 9 a.m. to 9:30, there's like a segment that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
9:30 to 10 a.m. there's a segment that's happening. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. there's a segment that's happening, right? So filling those blocks, either with music, content, and everything else, right? So what the program person at MTV does or did then was they literally have to literally schedule music from for 24 hours for like, okay, this song, this is what I want to play at this time, this time. There's a segment maybe creating like okay, you know what, maybe let's do on Mondays we have a segment that is called Monday Blues. And then on Monday Blues you're playing music that sort of like gives you Monday Blues. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe like on Tuesdays you do like a let's say like Woman Crush Tuesday, for example, and then
Mm-hmm.
you do like music that is like tilted towards Woman Crush Tuesdays.
Ring
So that
crush
was like
Wednesday.
Woman Crush Wednesday. Sorry, I mean that was what it was called, right? So Man Crush Monday, Woman
One
Crush Wednesday.
crush
That's what
Monday,
it was.
one crush. Hey.
Exactly right. So like we would have segments like that just to be in touch with culture and everything else, right? To be able
Mm-hmm.
to play music towards that angle. So I think I would have created or I would have been. I feel like I would have gone. I would have because I did enjoy coming up with titles like program names and program ideas, right? So I
Yeah.
think if anything I would have gone towards that angle actually.
Well, that's entirely cool. I didn't even know. I thought that people would just maybe pay money to the station, then the station will tell them, okay, we are going to play your content at this particular time slot, and that's going to be it. I didn't know like there's that level of professional
Yeah,
thinking
that's
going
a whole
through it.
yeah,
That's
that's a whole different
insane.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
is insane. Now we've spoken about Afro vibes. You've mentioned before that like it started as a karaoke event that was supposed to be for like 30 people. All of a
Yeah.
sudden 70 people came. Then Afro Angoka was supposed to be like 300 or so people. 4,000 people came. And then to what Afro vibes is today. So, can you tell us more about, in fact, okay, maybe bullet points about the planning process and how it has led to you now sitting on the board of directors at KW Famous?
Shout out to you for doing your research though, because I don't think I had published like obviously like that's a story that I tell maybe in interviews and everything else, right? So you probably have done an listened to one interview to have asked that question because I don't
Okay.
think it's published anywhere, right? But yes, fact, the first event that I I did in Kitchener Waterloo was an Afro karaoke event, and that is why I always do. I like sometimes I always include Afro karaoke in my program,
Karaoke.
Afro Vibes,
Yep.
because it was like the story. So again, like you said something that is very important. That sometimes we have to create the opportunities that we want to create for ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's sort of like pretty much what my but like if after the interview, if you ask me for my final words and everything else, that's pretty much what I'll say because I think that is what my journey sort of has entailed in the sense of just taking a chance because the worst thing that can happen is no. Like it's not the end of the world.
And they will
The
not buy.
first they will not literally the first time I did the Afro karaoke event, what happened was I don't remember what it was because I was just uptown Waterloo. I was just chilling. I think I was on the phone. I was on the phone with a friend, and I'd spoken with a friend long time ago about just like my ideas, blah blah blah, what I want to do and everything else. I was just on the phone with her, and she was just telling me about how in London, and this is like a colleague I used to work with then,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, in London or let's say UK specifically to London, um the Afrobeat scene, quote unquote, just it started because there were a lot of pocket pocket events that happened that just started blowing up, right? So people just
Yeah.
started doing like smaller events, and that's sort of like what like sparked like the growth of what we now know as Afrobeats in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So I just got on up the phone with her. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's right. And I'd been there's a place I was trying to go to a long time ago, Uptown Waterloo. So I just get off the phone with her. I'm just like, you know what? Let me just go do this. I just literally walk Uptown Waterloo.
Mm-hmm.
There was a karaoke bar in Uptown Waterloo.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just walk in there and I'm like, because I think it was a Friday night. And again, Friday night, I'm a Nigerian man, African man. I'm bored, nothing to do in Uptown Waterloo apart from maybe hanging out with my friends or something.
Your
Like
friends.
there wasn't a place. And this is 20. Just imagine. I mean, Kitchener Waterloo has changed so much since I came here in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But like literally walking into that space, there wasn't a lot of like representation when it came to like the music or anything else, right? So I literally just walked into a bar uptown Waterloo, and I'm like, I feel like I can change your bar. Like I feel like there's not so much going on here. I would like to speak. I would like to speak to the manager. I feel like I can bring value to do this and that. And I think for me personally, I feel like I was mad because who am I to just walk into a bar on Friday night and just ask? And then the person actually was entertaining me, asked me questions, told me to come back. So we started having a conversation, and it was actually meant to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
what happened was I was moving to a new apartment that same period, right? So there was a condition then of like if I don't like there was a bar minimum.
Mm-hmm.
It was like if I don't meet a certain amount um with bar sales, I would have to pay the
The
remaining money.
remaining, yeah.
And for me, it was a risk I wasn't ready to take because I was just moving to a new apartment, into a one bed apartment, right? And luckily for me, the one bed apartment that I was moving in, they had a party room, a small party room, right? So man, I'm like, I have a free party room upstairs. Rather than using that place and taking a risk and everything else, I might as well just play safe and do that, right? And
Yeah.
the party room, I think the maximum then was about like 30 people or so, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then by the time we started doing markets, I'm like, you know what? Let me test it out. What's the worst that can happen? People will not show up. Maybe my friends will show up and we'll have a good time.
Have a good time.
So what was like happen? We started marketing, started promoting the event and everything else, right? What sort of started as a space for 30 people, I just saw like interest of over 70 people. Like even like my friends telling me that, oh, you know what? They heard about this Afro karaoke event, blah blah blah. They want to come, but like, oh, it's sold out. There's no more space in the game. And people just kept on like asking, when is the next one? When is blah blah blah. So from right there and then, I just think that okay, there's an interest to continue building on this right. So from the
Absolutely.
Africa Heritage, we started doing just different events, Nollywood watch parties, just different community focused events to just bring people together and everything else, right? And the conversation came up from one place to another where the idea of Afro Vibes Festival was born. Because I just saw like there was a demand of like this culture and everything else. And I just, it just kind of pivoted to a place where I thought that we could actually create like an Afro Vibes festival. And to your point also about Afro Vibes, again, obviously first time doing a public event, large scale event. Um, Even the name Afro Vibes on Goku, like the idea Afro Vibes, it was like the,
Afrobeats on Google.
how do you know this? How do you know this?
I
Literally,
researched.
bro, that was the idea, right? It was a situation where it was like, it's either we call it Afro vibes or Afro beat on Goku, right? And I was like, you know what, Afro vibes just it sounds better. I was like, okay, cool, let's do Afro vibes on Goku, and that's kind of pretty much what it was. It took like literally less than a month and 2 weeks to put the first festival together. In the sense of like, and when I say everything together, I mean like getting convincing my friends then to be able to be on part of the festival to help me and like put things together,
Yeah.
getting sponsors, getting
Yeah.
vendors, getting artists, literally every single thing, getting somebody security, logistics, everything took a month and 2 weeks to put together. But I
Wow.
think me personally, like I said, I'm a Christian, right? I'm a believer in God. I feel like, when God wants something to happen for you, there's a way He sends help, right? And I feel like Afrovice was destined to happen, and that's why it was easy to happen in the first year. So
Yeah.
the first festival took a month and 2 weeks to come together.
A month
Um,
and
like 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 you mentioned, it didn't. It was a situation where I did not know any. Like I didn't. Obviously, it was the first time. Like I didn't even know like that much. Like the effort and everything else would actually result to the number that we had. Because in my head, I thought that we are gonna have like I said, it's like it was in June. Apparently, June is when students are not in the city. Obviously, Kitchener Waterloo then was known for a high student population. If students are not
population.
around, if students are not around in the city, then your event is not going to be, it's not going to succeed and everything else, right? So it was like, let me just take a risk. Even if 50 people show up and party and say, oh, they had a good time, I'm okay with that, right? And
Absolutely.
then my first year, I always tell people my first year marketing again. So this is where the idea of marketing plays a role for me
Yeah.
because I have a marketing background, right? So I use digital marketing. Like I use digital
Absolutely.
media well for my marketing and everything else, right? So most of my traffic, like I optimize on social media and everything else. So I know how to do that, right? The first year we were sharing flyers, but every time I was giving out flyers to people, like, oh, they've seen it
I've
already
heard of
on social
it
media. I
already.
thought of Aqua Festival. I'm like, okay, cool. So I literally in my storage, I still have flyers from
I'm
2023
on my face. I think.
sitting in my storage because it's like I wasted money on flyers because literally like it didn't make sense to give out flyers. It was like, oh, afterwards, oh, I've heard about it. Oh, don't worry, I've heard. I'm like, okay, cool, that's all good. So the first year, my own head was like, if I had 200 people show up, that's success to me. Like that would have
Yeah.
been, bro. People came out and had a good time. 200 people came out nice, and everything kind of happened. And then we saw over 4,000 people come out to Afro Vibes the
I
first
was
year.
there. There was no space to stand.
Bro, there wasn't space to
Food
stand. Like
finished.
literally, so it was like I'm like, bro, what is going on? Like, so it was ridiculous. And then even obviously in year two, if you were there in year two, I think year two was like really the icing on the cake because in year two, we expanded. Obviously, we tried different things, and we just tried different things and we experimented.
Yeah.
But in year two, rain fell, right, and even with the rain itself, with rain falling, people still had a good time. Like people literally stayed in the rain and then they had a good time.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, yes, this is something that definitely needs to keep on happening. And then
Yeah.
just this year too. This year, I think taking, and I'm always one that I take learnings from different things. Right, going into year
Yeah.
one, going into year two, I'm looking at like I literally always ask people like. what did you enjoy, what
What
did
do
you
you
not enjoy.
get? Yeah.
So I can actually go back and optimize the experience, right? Literally before your call, I was on a call with a sponsor, and I tried to ask the sponsor, what do you feel like we could do for you better next year so that we can have you back again next year, right? And
Absolutely.
that is me being able
For
to kind of
sure.
like create that experience, or like give optimize that experience, right? So that kind of pretty much was it, right? So I think the timeline really takes about, like I said, first year it took about 1 month and
A
2 weeks.
month and 2 weeks.
Last year it took about start planning Afro Vibes last year, like maybe like I'll say August,
Okay.
September. Yeah. And then this year's festival started as far back as maybe same period of like August, September.
Oh, as it
Because
as it was rounded up, you're applying the next one immediately.
oh yeah, that's the plan, literally. Like
Wow.
even for next year, I'm still on mental, I'm still on holiday in my head. But like
You're
by
mental
next month, yeah, by next month, 2 months from now, I'm already thinking about 2026, right?
starting
Because
again.
that's it. I think one the biggest one piece of advice again that somebody told me too was especially when people make goals like 2026 for people that are business oriented or goal oriented. 2026 does not happen in January 2026.
At all.
2026 starts happening in 2025.
25.
Literally,
Yeah.
you need to start making plans in 2025 to be able to have an effect on your 2026. So
Absolutely.
that's like that's the mindset of like going into 2026. So when people say, "Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that in 2026," it doesn't start from 2026. It needs to start from a couple of months before to be able to for it to account for
Absolutely.
2026, right? So
Absolutely. So
yeah,
was KW Famous one of the sponsors?
Kid of the Famous came on board as it was a partnership, right? So again, then when we launched Afro Vibes on Goku, then it was in collaboration with Kid of the Famous, right? Because they really helped
Mm-hmm.
out in logistics, right? Again, first
Absolutely.
time in Canada, they were
Mm-hmm.
one of the organizations that I literally spoke to, and I said, you know what? Of course, Kid of the Famous as a 2023 when I just coming to the country. They were one of the platforms that I just saw that they were doing a lot of events in the region, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I did send a message then was like, oh yeah, I feel like KW Famous we could do so much better in representation and everything else, right? So we had a
Absolutely.
whole conversation of like, how can we create or foster representation on a platform like KW Famous and everything else, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we had a conversation and then I picked, the idea of Afrovibe just sort of like came about, and then we kind of came into a sort of like a partnership where um they kind of helped with the logistics for the festival, and then obviously the idea and everything else was Digi Millennials and everything else, and then that kind of worked for the first year. So it was a
Okay.
collaboration with KW Famous in year one.
Oh, I see. That's so cool. And see, now they've kept you on as a member of their board. Is that
Yes,
particularly for Afro culture?
no, not necessarily. I mean, like just general improvements or just general activities of the organization itself, right? So I sit on the board of KW Famous from a point of just speaking towards like or just kind of being part of like the amazing initiatives that they run
Mm-hmm.
under the organization.
That's nice. And I mean, like, it doesn't hurt that you're black and African. So when initiatives, for the community come up, your our voice there.
Yeah.
So, in hindsight, right, has your community volunteering commitments have they been something of a stepping stone for your ultimate vision for Digi Millennials media companies?
Could you repeat that question? I don't think I understand.
Okay. In hindsight, your
Mhm.
community endeavors, your volunteering commitments, have they been a stepping stone for your ultimate vision for Millennials media companies, or was Millennials like born out of maybe a desire to continue like Misuse TV, Misuse Week?
Yes, actually, because I don't I get a lot of people are very like how do I put this that let's say they're intentional with when they make choices about like, oh, I want to do this so that it can foster this for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I have a big ultimate goal. Like my value system for me personally is um so like DJ Millennial's mission statement is to celebrate, and say this very well, to celebrate, elevate, and amplify
Fine.
African culture,
That was in your
right?
introduction.
That's literally like what the value system of digital millennials is, right? With that in mind, I don't necessarily think about, oh, me personally, um, I'm doing things because of thinking about digital millennials to be able to, like, the ultimate goal of digital millennials.
Mm-hmm.
With digital millennials itself, I always tell my team that when we're looking at content or anything that we do, it needs to tick those three boxes. Does it elevate African culture? Does it amplify? Does it celebrate? That's why, for example, Afrovice Festival sort of like is born, right? And
Yeah,
anything that we touch or anything that we sort of do around digital millennials has to fit into that model of those three those three key things. When
absolutely.
it comes when it comes to me, I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm going to do Afro Vibes Festival because of DG Millennials. I thought of Afro Vibes Festival from a point of, oh, does it actually fit into my value system of celebrating African culture in the first place?
Mm,
Not necessarily because of the effect it might have on DG Millennials.
later on, okay.
Yeah, I think the effect might eventually translate into that.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm thinking about sitting on on a board like Afropolitan Canada, for example, right? I'm not thinking about it from thinking about it on how it affects the millennials. I'm thinking about it from the point of how it affects just the value system that I have. As okay, I want to sit on a board that that upskills um like Africans and underrepresented communities with life skills, like learning how to swim, for example. Like I'm not thinking about digital when I do that, for example, right?
Yeah,
It's really just more about kind of identifying opportunities that align with my personal values, right? In regards to just seeing the idea of, first of all, like representation, seeing the idea of how do we sort of like, like I said, the idea of building community is not something that, like I would say, oh, when I come to Canada, I want to build community. It has just happened to a place where I am literally just in spaces where I have seen the need to build community because of certain reasons or the other, right?
yeah.
And I think the one thing again is the idea of representation, because representation, when you are a young adult, representation might not mean much to you, but there's a child that is like 5, 6 years old that is not seeing people that look like him or her
Around him.
around, and that plays a huge impact in regards to how that child develops. So representation is a big fact. Like me personally, like representation is a huge factor when it comes to these things, right? When I was doing
Absolutely.
my digital millennials case study, for example, thinking about it from a place of even grown as adults, right? Like when they are in spaces like here, for example, um, there are a lot of people that they grew up in Canada, but they didn't have
Your
exposure
video.
to like their culture. Can you hear me?
Your video, yeah.
Or can
Yeah.
you hear me? Can you see me? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
There are a lot of people that don't have exposure to their culture. Like they grow up, like maybe they're like 25 years old, or 20 years old, 22 years old, whatever
Yeah.
age. They move into Canada, for example. They don't have an experience apart from maybe like music that they listen to sometimes. They don't have an actual way to like test or like get introduced to their culture, right?
Yeah.
So something like DJ Millennials serves that purpose. I've heard people tell me about how, because when we create music or new music to listen to, all of those things on our platform, there are people that tell me about how, oh, thank you for putting me onto this music because I had no idea about this, right? Or Afrobeats, for example, it's like when I see um non-African cultures coming to come and try like food at the festival, for example. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, they saw fufu and egusi on TikTok, but they never thought about how they could taste
Fine.
that,
Very
right?
good.
That they now come into the festival, they see vendors that or small businesses that they can even continuously repeatedly buy from them. It all translates into this like this and these different elements for me about the main focus of like my value system, not necessarily thinking about it from a point of being, oh, I'm thinking about it because I'm joining this for digital millennials, or I'm
Business
joining this for
oriented.
this and everything else, right? So like at the end of the day, it just sort of plays a part because like my value system is based around all of that, right? So digital millennials is a part of my value system.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I say that it is no longer a passion thing for me. Like what I do is no longer a passion thing for me. Is a purpose thing for me. It's really more about. It's not really more of a I want to do this. I feel like it's a I need to do this.
You have
I
to.
have to do it because it really does serve a huge purpose of representation. It just serves, there are different elements that are tied towards kind of like seeing what we are building with the platforms that we are building or we are creating, right? So
Mhm.
it's just a situation where it's like, yeah, it just needs to be done. And I'm identifying, like I said, based on I keep on saying based on my value system, but based on those things, I'm identifying, I'm intentionally kind of crafting the things that I associate myself with based on that.
Thank you so much. That was a very in-depth view into like what drives you,
Mm,
both in digital media and entertainment, and in all of your community endeavors. You clearly see this as something that has grown into a must do. And I think that's very, very, how would I put it? It's very encouraging to see people who are like so purpose driven about what they already enjoy doing.
yeah.
So thank you for that. As we come to the close of this interview, please leave us with something. It doesn't have to be anything serious. It can be a joke. It can be interview tips if you're into that. It can be solemn advice for whoever wants to switch careers or whoever is studying something in Nigeria that their parents are like, what will you use this one to do?
I think the one thing is consistency, man. Digital Millennials has been running as far back as 2017, like with a very loose base structure. Like, but I think it's just a matter of just being consistent at it and like figuring out ways to optimize. I keep on using the word optimizing, but optimizing is actually key. Just when you start something, um, you don't like there are times where you start something and then in the 5 months, 6 months, it blows up.
Mm-hmm.
But other times, it literally takes a while, right? um you put something, you you plant a seed, that thing doesn't germinate until a while back, but at least the seed was planted, and it takes a while to nurture that seed to a place where it actually grows and you are now able to reap the rewards, right? So that's what I would say in regards to this, right? Just kind of keep being consistent at, like, if you have something in mind, it doesn't necessarily mean that what you're doing is not working out, but like keep on doing it, right? And that's kind of pretty much like the biggest advice that I think anybody can have, because um even then it's always so funny because you might have that one product that blows up, right? But guess what? It's like maybe something that you did maybe like 2 years or 3 years ago. It might be that 3 years ago product that somebody can see and be like, yo, this is nice. You have
Yeah.
one product that is maybe gaining attention and everything else, right? But it's like from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you created a portfolio of different things that you can always use, or that even made whatever blew up to blow up, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just the idea of staying consistent at, like, when you start something, just keep being consistent at it and just keep on trying it. Like, just keep on doing it, because an example I always like to give is Mark Zuckerberg. When Facebook started, for example, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg sat down in his room and said, I want to own Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. I want to start doing Meta. I want to do AI. Like, those ideas were not there. He
Yeah.
only just started Facebook, and that kept on. He just kept on being consistent. He just kept on evolving, and then now, Facebook is no longer called Facebook. It's called Meta. And under Meta, there's Facebook, and there are different things.
Yeah.
I don't think part of Mark Zuckerberg's blueprint was, oh, I want to own a company called Meta. And under Meta, I'm going to have 5, 6 different companies called Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just to keep on, literally just to keep on going. The only thing that Mark Zuckerberg was doing was he stayed consistent. He literally just continued doing what he was doing, and then all of that whatever evolved into what it is right now, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest piece of advice. Just be consistent.
You know, funny enough, I saw very similar advice some like a couple of weeks ago. Someone said, and this is like a very successful content creator. She also owns like a hair business. She's very popular in Nigeria. She
Mhm.
said that a lot of people don't stick to the things that they're doing long enough to see them succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't keep going long enough to actually succeed. Like you do it for maybe a year, 2 years, and you're saying, oh, it's not yielding anything, and then you quit.
Mm-hmm.
So her general advice was the same thing: stay consistent, no matter like what it looks like at the moment. Just keep going, keep
Keep doing
doing
it,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you to my listeners as well. However, whichever number of you, even if you were, so thank you so much for listening. It was an incredible time with Peter, and that's the end of this episode. See you in the next one.
Thank you.